The Wall Street Journal's piece, Mr. Ballas, said included her far left stance on banking. She pretty much wanted to eliminate banking, and just
Who's
a
vetting
communist.
Who's vetting these people?
I don't know. I thought if she was a Cornell Law School professor, Biden. I don't know if she just checked a box or something, but she withdrew her name for comptroller yesterday. So there's a God.
Yeah.
With more on that and everything else, let's welcome back our good friend Stephen Moore, noted economist, Wall Street Journal columnist, and author of Trumponomics, Inside the America First Plan to Revive Our Economy. Good morning, Stephen Moore. How are you?
Good morning, Amy. Good morning, Paul. Well, this was an interesting story. What happened with what's her name again?
Omarova.
I get confused with the Omicron, Anyway, she, for those who aren't familiar with this story, this was the lady who was was trained at Moscow State University. I'm not making this up. That's where she got her education. She is not a socialist. She is a communist. And she was actually appointed by the Biden administration to have a top regulatory position over the banks. Well, guess what? She hates banks. She doesn't believe that America needs banks. She thinks that the government can do all the lending. Again, I'm not making this stuff up, right? Yeah. And she also thinks we don't need investment bankers, like people at Payne Weber and, the various investment firms, because the government can do all the investing. And just think how great that'll be, because we won't have any middleman that takes fees from people. And she also said she wanted to bankrupt the oil, gas, and coal industry, which employs about 5 or 6 million people. But this was the kind of craziness. It tells you a lot about the Biden administration that they would appoint someone like this. Now, you're right, Amy. She has formally withdrawn. And I loved her statement yesterday. She said she was so unfairly treated. Well, she wasn't unfairly treated. We have video evidence of her saying these things. She was indicted by her own words. In fact, the reason she has to withdraw is she was too honest about what her intentions were. But this is a pattern. This isn't just about this crazy lady. Incidentally, I'm sure that the people at Cornell will take her back with open arms. It tells you a lot about our universities that they have someone like this teaching our children and our college kids. But there's a whole string of these wacko left-wing people who have been appointed to be in major regulatory positions. The woman that Biden wants to have head the Federal Communications Commission, which has oversight over all the media and all the broadcast stations, says she thinks Fox News is evil. And she wants to get rid of Fox News. And she's going to be the one who's going to have oversight over the networks.
And she just said, it was a tweet and I've since deleted it. No, that's how you feel. That's who you are. Just own it.
Who's vetting these people? I mean, where's this coming from? I mean, is Biden even aware of the caliber of candidates that his administration is submitting to Congress?
Well, that's a great question, and I think the answer to that is probably no. I mean, how much do you think that Biden is aware of in the White House? Not a lot. He's having problems at this point. I'm not, just saying this disparagingly, but he's having problems even reading the teleprompter at this point, which is written by other people. So, what it tells you is that a hard and I get asked this all the time: who's actually running the White House right now? Where's Waldo? And we just don't actually know. I mean, some people say it's Susan Rice. Sometimes people say it's his chief of staff. We don't know who's calling the shots here. But what we do know is that you're getting these crazy people who are so outside the mainstream, far leftists, and the Biden administration is putting them in positions of great power and authority over our industry. So it is a big problem, and it's telling you a lot about the fact that Joe Biden. Remember this time last year, Joe Biden was saying, "I'm going to be a centrist. I'm going to be a moderate. Don't worry, I'm not Bernie Sanders, and I'm what do they call him, Lunch Bucket Joe." He's not lunch bucket Joe. The other thing that's going on right now is the Senate is starting debate today on this $4 trillion spending bill. And I got to tell you guys, if Congress, I just wrote my column on this, if a private CEO of a private company or a public company tried to cook their books the way Congress is doing, we would throw these people in jail. this bill doesn't, quote, pay for itself. It's not free. It is going to massively increase the debt. But here's what they're doing. They're using 5 years of spending and matching that with 10 years of revenue and saying, see, it pays for itself.
That's all right. So let's talk about inflation. Who's to blame?
Okay.
No, the real simple question. Who's to blame and when is it going to get better? Because I have heart palpitations literally when I go grocery shopping. Yeah. It's bad.
Yeah, I've got a little cartoon in our outline this morning, and it is this little married couple, and they're bringing their Christmas tree in the home, and it's like one of those 2 feet tall, Charlie Brown Christmas trees with one little ornament.
Yeah, the kind that Dan Proft has. Yeah, that one with one ornament on it.
Yeah, and the caption on the cartoon says, with inflation, this is all we can afford this year. So it is definitely hitting people hard in the pocketbook, and it's hurt. I love the CNN headline last week. I don't know if you guys saw it. Inflation is good for you.
Oh, it is? Oh, do tell.
I'm not making it up. I'm not making this up. Inflation is good for you. Look, Google it. You can see it. So the narrative has gone from there's no inflation to it's transitory to now it's going to be good for you. I think that there's 2 people responsible for this surge in inflation that we've seen, because it was running at about 1.5% under Trump. Now it's running at 6.2% under Biden. Number one, the Federal Reserve Board has been way, way too lenient with their monetary policy, with interest rates at 0 for way too long, and they're purchasing all of these assets that is, continuing to put money in the economy, and that's dangerous. And the Biden administration is also responsible for this by they're just flushing the economy with all of this money that's being borrowed, and we're paying for that by printing more money. And obviously, anyone with a junior high education knows that if you put more money into an economy, and just keep flushing more economy, this is what Argentina, Bolivia, Zimbabwe do. The value of your currency falls and inflation goes up.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Steve,
it's pretty simple, right?
Yeah. Steve, let me ask you. I was looking at the monitor here, and I was looking at headlines from CNN where the White House, the administration is saying, "Don't worry, oil prices are going to drop. Gas prices will go down. They're predicting like 2 to 3 months." I mean, where do you see this headed? Yeah. I mean, is this a temporary bump, or is because they're trying to tell us, don't worry, this is just a temporary spike in the rates and the costs. They're going to be coming down soon.
So it's always really, really hazardous to predict what's going to happen with oil prices. So, and by the way, if I could tell you what was going to happen with oil prices in the 3 to 6 months, I'd be a very, very rich man. Because you've got people who, speculators trying to figure that out. So the answer is, I don't think we really know. We don't know what's going to happen with the oil and gas prices because there's so many factors involved in that. But I will say this with certainty, okay, and this is the most important point. If you've got an inflation problem, right, the worst possible thing you could do is go out and have the government spend and borrow $3 to $4 trillion.
Yeah.
I mean, right? I mean, and I love Joe Biden and the White House talking points now. Oh, this is going to make inflation better. It's going to lower costs. How in the world is the federal government spending and borrowing $4 trillion of your money going to make everything cheaper? I mean, it is so economics upside down that people laugh at that. I mean, it's a laughable thing to say. So what we ought to do is what my buddy Larry Kudlow says every night on his show, and I'm going to be on a show tomorrow night. Okay. Save the country, kill this bill. It is an atrocious bill. It is going to make inflation worse. It is going to massively increase the size of government in our economies. And we've got a great little study coming out. I think I mentioned this last week from Casey Mulligan of the University of Chicago. He finds that actually is going to increase the cost of child care because they're putting so much new regulations. And when I was a kid, growing up there in the suburban Chicago, I babysat. I earned $2 an hour babysitting. Now you have to be a member of a union to be a babysitter. I'm not making this up.
I know. I'm not. You and I both had work permits. Remember when we were 15?
Exactly.
Because that's the way I'd work. At Diamond Days in Randhurst at the mall. Right. There was a taco place called Diamond Days. I don't know why it was called Diamond Days, but it was. And I'd make money to buy my family Christmas gifts. It's just simple.
Yeah.
And then,
but you and I is exactly like we have this very similar pass, and you'd get those jobs. And now they want to unionize everything, which is going to make everything more expensive. But I got to tell you, right now, they do not have 50 votes for this bill in the Senate. Now, whether they're going to get those 50 votes, well, they're probably going to try to buy off Manchin and some of these others. But no thanks to your two senators in Illinois, who both, I think, are absolute yes votes for this bill.
Well, they're always yes
always
votes.
Yes votes.
Don't waste your time even looking, Stephen Moore.
Yeah.
All right, Stephen Moore, we're going to have to leave it there for today. Thank you so much for joining us, as always. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. Have a great week. Talk to you
too.
next week. Take care.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 5.